Hello, friends, and welcome back. Let's do a girl talk episode. I haven't done a girl talk episode in forever, and just so the boys leave, maybe it's not the right time to say this, but my armpits are really hairy. I'm going to wax them after this video, and I'm also on my period. So if that triggers you, please leave the video now. So for all the girls remaining and the people that aren't just insane, I feel like making this at the moment. I feel like it needs to be said. I see a rise basically in women not using their voices. I've definitely seen a rise in women becoming red pill, women making red pill content, and it's something I've kind of noticed at the moment. I've noticed that even podcasts, I've noticed that podcasts are quickly turning extremely conservative. It is, I mean, if you think it is extremely rare that you will see a liberal progressive female on a podcast. I generally can't remember the last time I've seen a progressive female on podcasts. And it's largely because they don't trend. It's largely because the zeitgeist at the moment is conservative males pushing females down. And even I notice when I do my videos, I'm starting to get much more pushback from males. And before, the pushback was always appearance related, but I find now I'm tend to trigger men, and it's because I'm triggering them politically and they don't agree with what I'm saying. It's sad to say, but I feel like women aren't being heard anymore. I feel like we obviously had a backlash to women being heard, women to exploring their sexuality. And we had this major backlash of let's put women back in their place. Let's blame women for everything. Let's blame feminism for everything. And we've always had this notion anyway. We've always had this notion of don't rock the apple cart. Even in the 60s, it was don't be a feminist. If you're a feminist, you won't find a man. And what I find is women generally don't care. Women would rather speak and be heard and have a voice than almost pander to this new type of male that I see. This new type of male that is extremely resistant to women, blaming women for a lot of systemic issues which aren't even related to feminism and being a woman. Things like the price of food, being able to afford a house. These are in no direct correlation to feminism. These are separate systemic issues that I think all gets lumped in to the scapegoat of feminism. And it kind of feels that we blame women for everything these days. We just blame women, and women are labelled too much. If I have opinion, I'm just labelled as a fat feminist. I'm not allowed an opinion. I feel at the moment the gender wars are just increasing. We're being pumped considerably more conservative content. We're being pumped conservative podcasts. Our podcasts we see don't seem to offer a wide range of views from females. I saw one podcast from a progressive female on trigonometry a while ago, and she was literally hammered in the comments. There doesn't seem to really be a place for liberal women anymore to just have an opinion. We're all just put in a box of man hating, hate children, hate animals. Do you know what I mean? We're all put in a box of just women that hate men and families. We're not even saying that. Even on my channel, the whole point is that you have a choice. If you want to make a podcast and make money, do that. If you want to stay at home and have a family, do that. It generally feels tough at the moment for women. It feels like women are just labelled as too much for simply having a measured opinion. A measured opinion on even things like the human body. And I don't really want to make this too much about certain issues because, oh my God, when you talk about female bodily autonomy, you just get these crazy American Christians just take over the comments and they don't let anyone have an opinion. Men seem to be so angry at the moment. If I say, Do you know what? I kind of prefer American men because they want to see a woman shine. Then someone will just take the extreme view and say, like, oh, all American men aren't like that. There are people in the Bible Belt communities that won't want someone like you. And it's like, I know that. I'm not trying to move to Utah. I'm trying to move to America to make money and have a better quality of life. I know that I will not appeal to every American man, and that is fine. Again, I was just expressing an opinion. And it does get tiring because you feel that you are too much to the internet. You feel that in just expressing your opinion, in just expressing your story, you're just too much. I think it's because I get tired of seeing the same female voices on podcasts. It's always the conservative women. It's always women that aren't saying anything too controversial. I can think of one woman that I see on podcasts, and she says the least controversial things in the world. And if you look at the comment section, it's just literally men agreeing with her. You're so stunning and brave. We need more women like this. It's because she's feeding this narrative that all women are these selfish, narcissistic women that are just going around creating their brands, when really women became like this to fill in the void that they felt was not being provided by men. On the whole, when you largely see women going their own way and doing their own thing, it's because they feel that that hasn't been provided by a man for them. They haven't had that male security of a man bringing them the money, bringing them the emotional labor. That's why you see, like I said in one of my other videos, women becoming increasingly more hyper independent. It's because they haven't had that from a man. And whereas men, obviously not all men, I have to say this every video, not all men, but men tend to blame women for their problems, whereas a woman will tend to think, okay, I'm not what men want. It's on me to change things. It's on me to become the provider in my life. If you just notice the misogyny of, if a woman wants to do a podcast and do well, she's labeled as a girl boss, a boss babe, a boss bitch. She's labeled in really negative and misogynistic language. But you don't get that for men. You don't get a similar derogatory term for men that want to pursue podcasting and making podcasts. There isn't a similar kind of misogyny, and there isn't even wording to express that a man is ambitious and creative. But yeah, for a woman, it's you're a boss babe, you're a boss bitch, you're man hating, you hate all children, you hate the world. I feel like the world is just turning into this crazy place where the algorithms are designed for males and females to generally hate each other. And I know it's like, for me, it's like that Coldplay song. Are you part of the cure or the disease? And sometimes I feel that. I feel like, yeah, I'm not necessarily the cure that I think I am sometimes. Sometimes I am the rage bait. Sometimes I am part of the disease. And it's not necessarily something that I can generally help because the rage bait videos trend. It's these algorithms that have been created that are part of the problem. And who created the algorithms? The millennials and the boomers created the algorithms that are destroying the planet. Do genuine and measured videos trend? No. I have to make ridiculous, clickbaity, rage baity videos that put the Brits against the Americans. That's what I have to do. That's what I have to do to get my voice out there. I can't be almost sometimes a measured person because that ain't gonna trend. And I'm going to be sat in this room the next 10 years if I don't lean into the algorithms and become the rage bait queen. I feel like I've gone wildly off topic and I'll have to call this video something else now. But I just wanted to reiterate that you are not too much for the right person. Like I said before, I'm not going to gaslight everyone and say that everyone's going to find their partner, because statistically some people won't. And I always think you have two options in life as a female. You go and live your life for yourself, you follow your passions, you follow your dreams, and maybe you meet someone along the way. That's option one. Option two is you optimize your whole life for finding a man, finding a husband, getting married, and that's what you want to do. The thing is, I don't even know if this is AI now, but I saw something from Lady Gaga, and she says, my career isn't going to wake up when I'm 40 and decide that it doesn't love me anymore. That's always what I've been scared of with falling in love with a man, is that moment that you're with someone and you devote your whole life to them, and then you wake up at 40 and he decides he doesn't love you anymore. What are you left with? You're left with the kids, who, even though you love your kids, they'll go off and leave at some point. They'll go to college, if college is still a thing, because this world's so fucked up. But your kids will leave, and then what are you left with? You're left with trying to date again in your 40s. And oh my God, I don't even want to think about dating in my 40s. I think it's time to just give up, basically. Part of me thinks you have to almost sadly optimize for a man. And I don't know if I want to be that person that optimizes for a man. I'd rather just meet someone organically through what I'm doing than someone that just their whole life is spent around optimizing for the man, optimizing for the male gaze, and someone picking them, choosing them. I just think you're generally not too much the right person. I think we're brainwashed online. We're just brainwashed online, and it's by creators making those stupid videos saying that men like this certain type of women, and it's usually that's what their wife is, so they make that type of content not to piss their wife off, or they make that content because they know, oh, that's going to trend, saying all submissive women, oh, that'll trend. What man doesn't want a submissive woman? I generally think that if you were around smart, creative men, they are drawn and attracted to smart, attractive women. I think it's the insecure men that you see that do not want a smart woman. It's the insecure men that want to keep their women pushed down. They don't want their women to have any type of outlet. They want their women to just stay at home. And what happened now? That lady on Ballerina Farm, oh, I can't even remember what her name is. She came out and said she wasn't even a trad wife. She came out, did an interview and said, I'm a businesswoman. So what you're seeing, what's being pumped to you, you're pumped this trad life, conservative life, when really it's female businesswomen that are calling the shots and out-earning their men. If you see like the Candace Owens, what's her name? I can see her face, brown hair, big eyes, can't remember her name. These women are businesswomen. These are businesswomen that are out-earning their men. Yet they are portraying negatively that women that want to create their own business are selfish because they're single. They're creating this narrative that these women are selfish, that they're narcissists, that they hate people, when really these women are more hateful than me. They produce content constantly deriding women, constantly being negative towards other women to make money. Yet we're supposed to hold up these women as a sign of female femininity and virtue when they spend their whole channels being misogynistic to other women. And I know in me saying this, I'm self-aware to know that I sometimes do that as well. I know I need to work on the whole golden retriever thing. That is one thing I need to work on. And I realised it's not that I'm jealous of these women. What I'm jealous of is that they're provided for. They're provided for by men, and they don't have to work. They don't need to do this. They don't need to sit and make a podcast because they are provided for by a man. I think that's a slightly different issue, rather than, say, if I produce content saying, oh, women shouldn't vote. I mean, we all know who I'm talking about. But you'll never be too much for the right person. It is impossible. And I even have to get into my head and think, for the right person, I will not be too much. Even when I kind of think about not manifesting, but what I want in a man, one of the top qualities is that they must not feel threatened by me. They must not feel threatened by me using my voice, by me speaking, by me making money. they know that's the score, and they can't go into a relationship with me and then want to just change that and change that and change me into a trad wife. They know that that is the score with me, and they know that I'm not going to change. If they're not attracted to that, then I'm not going to be the person for them. They have to find someone that fits that bill for them. And I just feel it's such a shame that women tend to feel this. Women tend to not speak up. They tend to not speak their mind. And it's all about being chosen, not rocking the boat, wanting to be chosen by a man, wanting to be picked by a specific type of man. So they feel that they can't use their voice, they can't speak out, because they feel that in doing so, that type of man won't want them. I don't think it's true at all. And even the statistics say that. The statistics say that most college educated men marry college educated women. That's what the statistics say. And the statistics say that most people that are college educated that marry later in life have happier marriages and stay together longer. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the trad life shit ain't working. It's telling you that getting married at 25 is not working because you change. Like my mum said to me, she said, because you didn't get married at 25, your marriage is more likely to last because you don't have to go through that change that everyone goes through from like 25 to like in your 40s or whatever. You don't have to go through that change as a person because you've already gone through it. And if I do have children, I'm not going to be thinking, I wish I was at a nightclub. That phase of my life's done. I'm not going to be thinking, I wish I could have slept with a load more people. I'm not thinking, I wish I could have gone out and do all these things, because I'm at a later stage in life. And that's what the statistics say. They say that people that get married later are generally happier. They're happier than the people that get married really young and they're pressured into it for religious reasons. I think basically I've just watched too much Turning Point USA. I need to step away from my computer. But I just wanted to make this video for the women watching that feel that they shouldn't speak their mind because they're scared that if they speak their mind, they won't find a husband. And I just think, fuck it, be like me then. Be like me and speak their mind and don't find anyone. I think I'd rather that. I'd rather speak my mind and be true to myself than not speak my mind just to have a husband. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.